Hi and welcome. If you're feeling excited but also a little overwhelmed planning your wedding, you're in the right place. This wedding planner Google Sheet is designed to help you organize every detail of your wedding, from your budget and guest list to vendors, seating, and even your honeymoon, all in one place. In this video, I'll walk you through each tab step by step and show you exactly how to use this planner so you can plan your wedding with clarity, confidence, and less stress. I highly recommend watching this video fully before you start editing the sheet, as it will save you time and help you avoid common mistakes. And if you want to jump to any specific section in this tutorial, you can find the timestamps listed below to go directly to your desired tab. Before we get started, there's one very important thing to remember. You should only enter data into cells that are blank and white in color, unless I specifically mention otherwise. The shaded cells contain formulas, and editing them can cause the planner to stop working correctly. If you stick to the white cells only, everything will update automatically and work exactly as intended. Now let's move to the very first tab, Start tab. This is where you'll set up all the basic information that the rest of the planner will use. At the top, you'll begin by entering your couple details. Add the bride's first and last name here, and the groom's first and last name here. Next, you can add your photos. To do this, click on the photo cell, then go to Insert, click Image, and then click Insert Image in Cell. Choose a photo from your computer or Google Drive, click Open, and you'll see your image uploaded directly into the sheet. You can also upload your couple photo here, and this will automatically reflect on your dashboard, giving your planner a more personal touch. Now, let's add your wedding date. Simply click on the cell under Wedding Date, double-click, and a calendar will appear. Select your date, and that's it. Below that, enter your wedding location by typing the details into the space provided. Here, you can choose which day your week starts on, so your calendars align with your preference. And in this cell, simply enter your currency symbol. Once you do that, the currency will automatically update across the entire planner. Next, we'll set up your categories. These categories will appear as drop-down options in other relevant tabs throughout the planner. Here you can customize things like guest tags, wedding roles, meal preferences, accommodation options, and vendor categories. For vendor categories, please note that the first cell is fixed and cannot be edited. This is reserved for the venue, which we'll cover later in the video. You can add up to 30 vendor categories in total. Below that, you'll find finance-related categories. Enter the payment methods you'll be using, as well as the contributors to your wedding budget. These will later appear as drop-downs in the Budget tab. If you ever want to add more rows under any category, except vendor categories, you can do so safely. Click on any cell in the middle of the section, insert a row above, and then copy and paste an existing row into the new one. You will notice that the numbers look incorrect after adding a row. Don't worry. Simply drag the formula down from the cell above, and everything will fix itself automatically. Drag the formula down only until the second last row. For the very last row in that section, enter the number manually, so the borders don't get disturbed. Next is the Dashboard tab. There's nothing you need to enter here. This tab automatically shows the progress of your wedding planning and any upcoming or overdue tasks. We'll come back to the dashboard at the end of this video once everything is filled in. Now let's move on to the Vision Board tab. This is where you can visually set the overall look and feel of your wedding. This tab is fully optional, so feel free to skip it if it's not useful for you. You can even delete it without impacting the rest of the planner. I've provided 6 image boxes where you can add inspiration photos for different elements of your wedding, such as decor, the bride's outfit, the groom's outfit, florals, photography style, and table styling. If you'd like to change any of these titles, you can do that easily by editing the text. To add photos, you can upload them the same way we did in the Start Here tab, by inserting an image directly into the cell. If you'd prefer to add images directly from the internet, you can do that too. For example, let's say I want to add an image under table styling that I found on Pinterest. Simply right-click on the image and choose Copy Image Address. Then come back to this tab, paste that link into the cell labeled Image Address, and wait a few seconds. You'll see the image automatically appear inside the box. On the right-hand side, you'll see a section called Our Wedding Vibe. Here, you can describe the feeling or atmosphere you want your wedding to have in 1 or 2 sentences. This section is completely optional. Scrolling down, you can add your wedding color palette here. If you already have a color palette and know the hex codes, adding them is very simple. Click on the color box, go to Fill Color, click the plus sign, and paste your hex code there. After that, paste the same hex code into the cell with the hashtag symbol, so you can easily refer to it later. Below that, you can add your must-have keywords as well as your absolutely not list, so your priorities stay clear throughout the planning process. Finally, if you have any additional inspiration, you can enter it in this section. Add the category, paste the website or Pinterest link, and include any notes you want to remember. This is a great place to store all your ideas in one organized spot. And if you wish to add more cells, simply follow the same steps we used in the Start Here tab. Next is the Timeline tab. This is where you can plan and track all the tasks you need to complete at different stages of your wedding planning, such as 12+ months, 9 to 12 months, and so on. Under each time period, simply enter the tasks you plan to complete. If you need to add more rows, just follow the same method we used earlier. Once a task is completed, come back to this tab and check the box next to the task to mark it as done. At the top of this tab, you'll see navigation boxes. You can click on any of these and you'll be taken directly to that section of the timeline. To add a task, start by entering the task description. Then choose the person responsible from the drop-down menu. Add a deadline by double-clicking the date cell and selecting a date from the calendar. If you'd like, you can also assign a priority level. This step is optional. And that's it. Your task is now added and will automatically reflect in your planning progress. Now let's move on to the Calendar tab. This tab gives you a monthly view of your tasks and their progress. Start by entering the year here, and then choose the month from the drop-down. Your week start is automatically pulled from the settings you entered in the Start Here tab. This box shows how many tasks you have due today. To view those tasks, simply look at the calendar. Today's date will be highlighted. You can choose how you want to view your tasks using these checkboxes. You can view all tasks together or filter tasks from only the timeline, payments, or extra deadline sections by checking or unchecking these boxes. You can also filter tasks based on their status, completed, incomplete, or all tasks, using the drop-down provided. Below this, you'll find a section where you can enter any extra deadlines that don't fall under the timeline or payments. To mark any task as completed, you'll need to go to the original tab where it was created and check it off there. For example, timeline tasks must be marked complete in the Timeline tab. Once a task is marked as complete, it will automatically be struck off in the calendar. Please note that only 6 tasks due on a single day can be displayed directly in each calendar cell. If you have more than 6 tasks on the same day, you can scroll to the right to view the remaining tasks. On the right side, you can see a complete list of all tasks due for the selected month, along with their completion status. To identify which tab a task belongs to, look for the emojis shown next to each task. Timeline tasks can be managed in the Timeline tab, vendor and miscellaneous payment tasks are handled in the Payment Tracker tab, and extra deadlines are managed directly within this Calendar tab. Now let's move on to the Guests tab. Here you'll enter details for every guest, including +1s and children, so you always have an accurate guest count. Start by entering the guest's first name and last name. Next, choose who the guest is associated with, such as bride's side or groom's side, from the drop-down. Then select a guest tag from the drop-down. These tags are pulled directly from what you set up in the Start Here tab. You can mark these checkboxes to track whether save the dates and invitations have been sent. For RSVP status, choose from the drop-down whether the guest is attending, not attending, or if the RSVP is still pending. You can also add any special notes related to the guest in this column. If the guest is a child, make sure to check this box. If not, simply leave it blank. Next is the contact and address section. Here, you can enter the guest's contact number, email address, and physical address. Moving on to the accommodation section. If the guest requires accommodation, check the box. Then select the accommodation option from the drop-down based on what you entered in the Start Here tab and mark the booking status as booked or not booked. For transportation, follow the same process. Check if transportation is required, select the date, and enter the pickup and drop-off times. In the meal section, choose the guest's meal preference from the drop-down. You can also note any dietary restrictions here. If the guest is a child and requires a kid's meal, make sure to check this box as well. In the gifts section, you can track whether you've received a gift from the guest. If a gift was received, check the box, add a short description if you'd like, and mark whether a thank you note has been sent. At the top of this tab, you'll see a mini overview that summarizes the details you've entered, giving you a quick snapshot of your guest information. Now let's move on to the Seating Plan tab. All your confirmed guests are automatically pulled from the Guests tab, so it's important to make sure each guest's RSVP status is updated there first. In the overview at the top, you can see which guests are seated and which are not yet assigned. You can also sort guests by status, seated, seat not assigned, by last name, or by guest tag, to make assigning tables easier. In the right side, you'll see a total of 50 tables. You can assign guests to each table based on your requirements. Please note that only up to 20 people can be seated at a table. Adding extra rows here will break the formulas, so avoid doing that. The first two cells of Table 1 are reserved for the bride and groom and are automatically pulled from the Start Here tab. To add guests, simply go to the cell and choose their name from the drop-down. I recommend typing the first few letters of their name. The drop-down will automatically show matching names, which makes selecting faster. If the same guest's name is entered twice, it will be highlighted so you know not to seat anyone twice. If the guest is a child, marked as a child in the Guest tab, you'll see a small emoji appear next to their name. This helps you quickly identify which tables have kids when planning meals. Above the tables, there's a mini overview showing the total number of guests, how many are seated, and how many are left to be seated. Now let's move on to the Wedding Party tab. Here, you can enter all the details for anyone in your wedding party, such as bridesmaids, groomsmen, flower girls, and ring bearers. For each person, you can fill in the following details. Name, their full name. Role, for example, maid of honor, best man, or bridesmaid. Escort, who will walk with them down the aisle. Aisle order, the order they'll appear during the ceremony. Attire, what they will wear. Attire status, whether it's ordered, fitted, or received. Tasks, any responsibilities they have for the wedding. Notes, any other important information or reminders. You can add as many wedding party members as needed. This tab helps you keep track of everyone's roles and responsibilities, so nothing gets missed on the big day. Now let's move on to the Vendor Comparison tab. This tab allows you to compare vendors across different categories before making a final decision. You can compare up to 30 vendor categories here, based on what you set up earlier in the Start Here tab. The very first category is fixed for the venue and cannot be changed. In the next section, choose the vendor category you want to compare from the drop-down. For each vendor, enter the following details: vendor name, phone number, email address, package details for price quoted, availability, style match. Notes: if you need to add more rows, follow the same steps we used in the Start Here tab. Make sure you copy and paste the entire row like I have shown so that the formulas continue to work correctly. Once you've chosen a vendor, simply check the box next to their name. For all vendor categories, you're free to select more than one vendor. However, for the venue category, only one final selection is allowed. That vendor will automatically appear in your Confirmed Vendors tab. Please note that in the venue section, you cannot add or remove rows. For venue selection, only enter the vendor name, phone, email, package details, availability, style match, and notes. You should also not enter the total cost or select the final option here for venues. To compare pricing and finalize your venue, we'll use the Venue Comparison tab. Now let's move on to the Venue Comparison tab. Here, the venue name, contact number, and email are automatically pulled from the Vendor Comparison tab. You can add venue photos the same way we did in the Start Here tab, or by pasting an image address into the cell provided. You can compare venues across multiple sections, starting with basic details like venue name, location or city, and capacity. Next, you can check date availability for your shortlisted dates. Here, you'll see the venue's contact name, phone number, and email automatically pulled from the Vendor Comparison tab. You can enter the website link in the cell provided. In the Other Details section, you can compare things like nearby accommodation, parking availability, transport accessibility, extra amenities, and user ratings or reviews. You're free to modify or customize these fields based on what matters most to you. In the Cost Breakdown section, you can break down and compare costs such as the rental fee, equipment charges, service fees, and taxes. You can adjust or customize these cost fields according to your venue's pricing structure. At the bottom, you can add any notes or special remarks. Once you're done comparing, simply select the checkbox for your chosen venue. Only one venue can be marked as the final choice. Once selected, this venue will automatically be reflected as your final venue choice in the Vendor Comparison tab. I recommend fully comparing all venues here before selecting the final one, as this choice will impact several other parts of your planner. If you don't want to compare multiple vendors for a category, that's completely fine. You can simply enter the details of the one vendor you've chosen under that category and mark it as the final option. However, the venue category works a little differently. Even if you have only one venue option, you still need to go to the Venue Comparison tab and enter the total cost or cost breakdown there. That cost will be automatically totaled and pulled back into the Vendor Comparison tab. This step is important because it ensures your venue is included in the Confirmed Vendors tab and is also reflected correctly in the Budget tab. I recommend completing the Venue Comparison section even if you're already sure about your venue, just so everything flows correctly across the planner. Now let's move on to the Menu Comparison tab. Before we begin, here's how this section is structured. You can compare up to 5 courses, and each course can have up to 3 different options. For each option, you can enter the dish name, cost, quantity, and any notes if required. The total cost for each option will be calculated automatically. Sections for appetizers, main course, desserts, and beverages are already provided, along with one additional section for any extra course you may need. To name a course, simply click on the course name cell and enter the title. Once you've decided on a final option for a course, select that option from the drop-down provided. The selected option will be highlighted, making it easy to see your final choices. As you select your final options, the total cost for each chosen course will automatically update in the graph above. This gives you a clear visual of how much you're spending per course. Now let's look at the Confirmed Vendors tab. Here, all you need to do is select the booking status. Everything else is automatically updated based on the details you entered in the Vendor Comparison tab and the Budget tab. You can filter this tab based on any column depending on what you want to see. For example, if you want to see which vendors are not yet booked, click the filter icon in the Booking Status column. Clear the existing selection, choose Not Booked, and click OK. You'll now see only the vendors that are not booked. To go back to the original view, click the filter icon again, select All, and click OK. While a filter is applied, the mini overview on the right side may appear reduced or hidden. Don't worry, once you remove the filter, the overview will return to normal. In the mini overview, you'll also see a box called Spending Status. This compares your total vendor cost against the budget you set in the Budget tab and shows you whether you're on track or over budget. Now let's move on to the Important Contacts tab. Here, you can add all your important contacts that do not fall under vendors. For each contact, you can enter the name, relationship, primary contact number, alternate contact number, email address, and any notes. All vendor-related contact details are automatically available in the Confirm Vendors tab, so you don't need to duplicate them here. Now let's move on to one of the most important tabs in this planner, the Budget tab. At the top, start by entering how much each contributor, which you set up earlier in the Start Here tab, is willing to contribute toward your wedding budget. Below that, you'll see two main sections, one for the vendor budget overview and another for the miscellaneous budget overview. In the vendor budget overview, the vendor category, vendor name, and total cost are automatically pulled from the Confirmed Vendors tab. All payment entries and paid statuses are also updated automatically based on what you enter in the payment tracker. All you need to do here is enter the budget you've planned for each vendor, assign a priority level if required, add any additional notes if required. In the miscellaneous budget overview, you can enter the category, budgeted amount, actual amount, and any notes. Just like with vendors, payment entries and payment status are automatically updated for you. At the top, you'll see a mini overview that gives you a complete snapshot of your wedding finances. This includes total wedding budget, amount budgeted, left to budget, total spend, left to spend, which shows what's remaining from your overall wedding budget, total vendor cost, paid amount, and its balance left to pay, and total miscellaneous cost, paid amount, and its balance left to pay. You'll also see visual charts like vendor spend by category and miscellaneous spend distribution, making it easy to understand where your money is going at a glance. Now, to connect your budget with your actual payments, let's move on to the next tab, the Payment Tracker. This tab is divided into two sections, vendor payments and miscellaneous payments. In the Vendor Payment Tracker, enter the following details: paid date, category, vendor name, amount paid, payment mode, paid by, due date, paid status, notes. Only the vendor names related to the category you've selected will appear in the vendor name drop-down. The payment mode and paid by fields are optional. These drop-downs are based on what you entered in the Start Here tab, so only fill them in if they're relevant to your payment. In the Miscellaneous Payment Tracker, you can enter paid date, category, amount paid, payment mode, paid by, due date, paid status, notes. Once you've made a payment, make sure you check the paid box. Only checked payments are included in the totals shown in the Budget tab. If you leave the box unchecked, your budget totals may not match, so this step is important. As mentioned earlier, once a payment is marked as paid, that payment task will automatically show as completed in the Calendar tab. You can also filter this tab using the filter icon, following the same steps we used earlier. This makes it easy to view pending payments, paid payments, or payments by category. I recommend updating this tab immediately after every payment so your budget and calendar always stay accurate. Next, let's move on to the Song List tab. Before adding songs, start by entering the moments first. These moments will be used as drop-down options later in this tab and in other relevant tabs. For each song, enter the following details: song name, artist, genre, moment, notes. Once you've finalized a song, check the approved box. You can also use the filter icon to sort or view songs based on your preference. For example, by moment, genre, or approval status. Now let's move on to the Ceremony tab. This tab is divided into multiple sections to help you plan and organize every part of your ceremony. The first section is completely optional. Here you can enter your ceremony details such as ceremony type, ceremony location, ceremony date, start time and end time, officiant's name and contact details. Once your ceremony rehearsal is completed, you can also check the rehearsal box here. Next is the processional order section. Here you'll enter order number, person or group, role, song. The songs you selected earlier in the Song List tab will be available as drop-down options here. Walking with, any notes. The next section is the ceremony flow. In this section, choose the ceremony segment from the drop-down, then enter Who is involved? Estimated duration in minutes, completion status. Any notes? Below that, you'll find the Meaningful Moments section. Meaningful moments are the special, personal elements of your ceremony, moments that reflect your story, culture, or values. These aren't mandatory, but they add a lot of emotional meaning to your ceremony. Here you can enter moment type, description, required items, responsible person. Any notes? At the bottom, you'll find space for final notes for the officiant or coordinator. This is a great place to add any last-minute instructions or important reminders. This tab is especially helpful to share with your officiant or coordinator so everyone is aligned on the ceremony flow. Now let's move on to the Photography Shot List tab. Before you start adding shots, you can add or remove categories as needed. For example, getting ready, ceremony, reception, or any other category you want. For each shot, enter the following details. Category, shot description, a brief note of what you want captured, people involved, priority, high, medium, or low, completed, check this box once the shot is taken, notes, any additional details or reminders. Just like the ceremony and song list tabs, this tab is completely optional. You can use it if you want a detailed shot list for your photographer, or skip it if you prefer. Having this list ready can help your photographer know exactly which moments and people are most important to capture. Now let's move on to the Day of Timeline tab. This tab helps you plan the schedule for your wedding day and any other important custom days, so everything runs smoothly. For each entry, you can fill in time, when the activity is happening, what is happening, a brief description of the task or event, where, the location of the activity, who, the people involved, notes, any additional details or reminders, status, check this box once the task is completed. This tab provides sections for your main wedding day and 2 other custom days, so you can plan pre-wedding events, rehearsal, or post-wedding activities as needed. Having a detailed day of timeline ensures that everyone knows what is happening and when, helping your day flow smoothly without any last-minute confusion. Next, let's move on to the Packing List tab. This tab is divided into 2 sections, one for the wedding and one for the honeymoon. For each item, you can fill in item, the thing you need to pack, who's responsible, who will pack it, notes, any reminders or special instructions. Once an item is packed, simply check the box to mark it as done. If you want to add more people or edit the existing drop-down, for example, if someone else is helping plan the wedding besides the bride or groom, it's easy. Simply double-click the cell with the drop-down, click the edit icon, add or remove options, and click Done. A pop-up will appear asking if you want to apply the changes to all cells. Click Apply to All, and you're done. This tab ensures that nothing is forgotten, and everyone knows exactly what they are responsible for packing, whether for the wedding day or your honeymoon. This concludes your wedding planning. Now let's move on to the Honeymoon Budget tab. First, enter the start date and end date of your honeymoon. Then, enter the total honeymoon budget in the designated cell. Next, in the Budget Overview section, enter the categories you want to plan for. For example, flights, accommodation, food, activities, and assign a budget for each category. The actual and left to spend amounts for each category are automatically calculated based on your entries in the transaction tracker. You don't need to enter them manually. They update in real time as you track your expenses. If you're dealing with foreign currencies during your trip, don't worry. We've included sections for that at the right end of this tab. First, enter your home currency code, for example USD. Then, in the currency exchange section, enter the ISO codes for the countries you'll visit along with the current exchange rate. You can easily get this exchange rate online. For example, if you're traveling to Europe, enter EUR in the ISO code column, then search online for the EUR to USD exchange rate and enter the value here. Now let's move to the transaction tracker section. Here, enter date of the expense. Category, amount paid in your home currency. If you paid using your domestic currency, leave it blank if you used foreign currency. Amount paid in foreign currency. If you paid using foreign currency, enter the amount here and select the ISO code for that currency. Payment method, optional. Notes, optional. If you enter an amount in foreign currency, the converted amount will automatically calculate and total in the total amount column. Above, you can see a visual distribution of your spending among the different categories you entered. This helps you track how your honeymoon budget is being spent at a glance. Finally, let's look at the Honeymoon Itinerary and To-Do List tab, the last tab in your planner. In the Itinerary section, simply enter date, time, location, details, for example, activities or reservations, notes, any extra reminders. In the To-Do List section, enter date, task. Check the box once the task is completed. This tab helps you keep your honeymoon organized and ensures you don't forget any activities or important tasks while traveling. And that's it. Once you've filled in your itinerary and to-dos, your entire wedding and honeymoon planner is ready to guide you from start to finish. Now that everything is entered, let's take a look at the Dashboard tab, the central hub of your planner. At the left end, you have a navigation bar. Simply select any tab you want to visit and click the link to jump directly there. You'll also see a box showing how many days are left until your wedding, a quick countdown to keep you on track. In the main area, you can see how many tasks are due today and which category they fall under, whether it's timeline, vendor payments, miscellaneous payments, or extra deadlines. To view the task names and upcoming tasks for the next 30 days, simply scroll further to the right. Below the task section, you can see your RSVP statuses, the total number of confirmed guests including children, and how many children are attending. In the budget section, you can see your total wedding budget and how much is left to spend. Clicking each section of the donut chart shows the breakdown of amount spent versus amount left to spend. On the right, you'll see a vendor spending breakdown, and below that, a miscellaneous spend breakdown as well. In the seating section, you can see how many confirmed guests are seated and how many are still waiting to be seated. Finally, you may have noticed that every tab after the dashboard has a box at the top named Dashboard. Clicking this will bring you right back to the Dashboard tab for easy navigation. The dashboard is designed to give you a complete snapshot of your wedding planning at a glance, so you always know what's done, what's pending, and where your budget stands. And that's it. Your complete wedding and honeymoon planner is all set up and ready to go. I hope this tutorial helps you stay organized and stress-free while planning your dream wedding. If you have any questions or need help, don't forget you can always reach out to me at artwithlove000@gmail.com or refer back to this video. Thank you so much for watching.